hit like, and subscribe. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel.
Peace, family. This is your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. Don Lemon has been arrested. That's right. Reports have come in saying that former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been taken into custody after FBI and HSI authorities were involved in his arrest. If you don't know what happened, Don Lemon was participating not too long ago in a protest earlier this month at a church. He was not participating as an activist. He was participating on January 18th as a journalist. To be clear, he was reporting on a protest. He was covering a protest of ICE, an ICE protest in St. Paul, Minnesota. He came under fire. He came under fire by the Trump administration. He came under fire by Donald Trump himself. And of course, right-wing pundits who said he is causing a problem. He is not just a journalist here. He's a conspirator. He's one of the organizers. He should be arrested. And in fact, they tried to sign arrest warrants. They tried to get arrest warrants signed for Don Lemon along with 4 other people. And guess what? The court said no. A federal appellate court declined to order a lower court judge to sign those arrest warrants. Donald Trump and them didn't care. This administration doesn't care. They have continued to pursue Don Lemon, looking for a reason to justify his arrest. And last night, Thursday night, January 29th, when Don Lemon was covering the Grammys, entirely unrelated. He's in Los Angeles covering the Grammy Awards. Suddenly, he gets taken into custody by law enforcement. The FBI, again, was involved. The HSI was involved. And of course, that's Homeland Security Investigations. They're basically the investigative wing of ICE. They come in and they also are going after Don Lemon. This is despicable. This is absolutely despicable and inexplicable. You can't explain this. We know about this because Don Lemon's attorney issued a statement. Abby Lowell said, Don has been a journalist for 30 years and his constitutionally protected work in Minneapolis was no different than what he has always done. The First Amendment exists to protect journalists whose role it is to shine light on the truth and hold those in power accountable. There is no more important time for people like Don to be doing this work. Yeah. So it became very clear. That this is not about a protest. Let me read a little bit more what Lowell said that feeds this. This unprecedented attack on the First Amendment and transparent attempt to distract attention from the many crises facing this administration will not stand. Don will fight these charges vigorously and thoroughly in court. Now, there are a few things at play here that we can talk about, a few things that we need to talk about. And we'll talk about them more later tonight. We'll do a special edition of Night School right here on the channel to get into it. But I wanted to give you all the basic outline here. First, there's the question of whether the protest itself was a problem. St. Paul's City's church was the site of the protest. They were protesting outside the church because they discovered that one of the pastors in the church is an ICE official. They were protesting outside the church, and then at some point they entered the church. Now, I don't know whose idea that was. I don't know what their relationship is to that church, but they entered the church. They're saying that this tramples upon the rights of the churchgoers, that they have a First Amendment constitutionally protected right to practice their religion, and bursting into the church prevents them from practicing their religion. That's the argument. Protesters saying We're not disrupting. This isn't about their religious practice. This is about protesting in action. We can have a legal debate about that. You all can have a legal debate about that. I'm not particularly interested in that question, not right now. I'll leave that to the legal experts. But what I do know is that the journalist who shows up to cover that incident, the journalist who pops up to have that conversation with the world about what's happening, to report on what's happening, there's no legal grounds to arrest him. So what they try to do is make it a conspiracy. No, well, they're conspiring to strip away the freedom of religious practice, and he's one of them. He's not the journalist. That's Naeem Akbar, light-skinned dude from the bank. He's the real boss behind all of this. That's not Naeem Akbar, it's Kareem Akbar on New Jack City. That's the argument they're making. But that's not what's happening. And let's be clear, this is going to get thrown out. This is absolutely, positively, definitely going to get thrown out at some point. No one is going to lock Don Lemon up for this. But the fact that the government is willing to use its strength, its power, its resources to do this shows that this is basically the era of new McCarthyism. That this is the moment where they're going to use all the power of the state as a resource to intimidate and silence those who they view as dissenters, to make journalists enemies of the state, to silence people who are pushing back. That's what's happening right now. And it's absolutely despicable. So we'll keep you updated with Don Lemon's situation. Well, I'll let you know what's going on with Don Lemon's situation as more developments come out. But it's important, it's absolutely important to be clear here that this is not, under any circumstances, legal or even normal. This is a full-fledged assault on free speech. It's not a coincidence that it's Don Lemon either. They wanted to pick somebody who's a big name. They also wanted to pick somebody that Donald Trump doesn't like. Guess what? Donald Trump hates Don Lemon. We know that. So he hates Don Lemon. He hates free speech. He hates protesters. He hates anybody who's resisting ICE. This was the perfect storm that Don Lemon got swept up in. It's shameful. It's embarrassing. It's illegal. And everybody here should be speaking up against it. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the join button if you're so inclined. Also hit that QR code. Join me on Patreon where we'll have a much bigger deep dive right after